Well, good morning. Shalom, Shabbat, my friends. Oh, did you say good morning? That's because I fed you. Oh, you know I got cookies. And the only time he talks to me, really, because being Pages, I'm only his friend if I got a cookie. And it kind of helps. Hello, big boy. Hello, Cadillac. How are you, buddy? Hair's coming off. But I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple things. Of course, we're all, as you hear and hear and hear, we're all in this together. But here's the thing about the horses and people that have the horses or ranching, everything still needs to be fed. And the horses still need to get out. And the hair still needs to come off. And the mares, still need to be bred. And for us, Paige and I just got off the phone, and I've tried to strategically put these mares to the stallions that I want. Of course, there's a few stallions I'd like to go to that at this particular time and point financially don't have it, because they're like way beyond anything that this side of the mountain could even imagine, unless they're in the industry on high dollar horses. Then you can imagine, people think 1,500 is a lot, or, but when you're talking 60, 70, 80,000, and if you're lucky to find a son of somebody for the 7,500 mark, just to get close to that, which there's a few, and then they're sitting over in Australia or someplace, but they'll ship. So I guess I don't want to ramble, but I just wanted to kind of say, while everybody else is sitting at home, we get the blessing of coming out and being with our horsey friends. And I've always been kind of a germophobic anyways, and a hand washer, so it's like nothing new under the sun here. It's getting the kids, Luke, wash your hands, which, you've been telling them since they were old enough to get up on a little potty stool to wash their hands. And when I'd keep him home from being sick, the school's calling, well, why is he home? Why? Well, he's sick. Oh, well, he needs to be in a chair. Yeah, so he can get everybody else sick, just like he got sick from somebody else going to school. It's just, I hope that this restarts stupid back into common sense, right? So it allows me, because any horses that I have that were going to come in to ride now are home, and because people, they get afraid. They get afraid for their money. They get afraid for what's going on, and I'm like, part of the problem, people have to be cautious, but when people get too afraid, then fear, based out of fear, then there's a wreck, like no toilet paper, or the economy crashing, or, we gotta be careful, don't get me wrong, but we don't have to be so uncommonly sense about stuff that it gets people crazy. And I think that has to do if you're kind of away from the dirt and away from livestock, knowing where your food comes from. If you're on cement too much or raised in town, I think got nothing to do. But we're going to worm mare so we can get ready to breed. I sat with Paige and we talked about who and why. Because I look for different things. We want everything we have is bred to cow and run at a great amount of speed. And so I try to keep my cow and my run together. It doesn't always, you might get one hard genetic one way to the other. They may look more like cow. Like this horse here is, this is Tina's horse, by the way. T, this is your beloved Cadillac, but he's one that, out of the daughter to my old Bonnie mare, back in the day that I used to drag racehorses down the track when I was a kid, He's what I consider my cowboy horse, but he'll be everything. He'll be my slave, my go-to guy. He's very, very calm in demeanor. He's like a little bit, I can remember the day he was born. We'd come home from a Cal Expo from my first Mustang makeover, and she was just halfway birthing him, and I looked out in the field, and there she was, and we all hopped out and ran over to him. And this is why I go about the imprinting thing doesn't really work, because, oh, we touched this baby all over, lovey, 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 right? Because we were just right on time. In the daytime, not at, 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, but just right, nice, quiet time. And I tell people the quiet time's when they want to birth, because no eyes are on them. And when people get up all the time, and especially a mare that could be a little bit cautious, then they're going to hold them and wait till everybody goes away and go, okay, I got half hour before they come back out and checking on me. And they lay down and have their baby. And that was him. But we touched him all over, and then he was like, oh, God, don't ever touch me again. I was like, it wasn't a bad experience, but it goes to show that doesn't always work. They're either born broke or they're born to run, and then they got to mature out. And with mine, it's the waiting game, mature, mature, mature. And that's okay, because with what happened with me, with my spinal cord surgery and getting my neck, redone, and just to clarify, it wasn't from getting bucked off a horse, people. That wasn't what it was from. I've heard did you get bucked off? I heard she got bucked. No, I didn't. I did not get bucked off. It was tumors probably from our environment spraying. I used to think, how much can you stand under those permethrin fly spray units in those barns and get sprayed upon? And this last fall, I was in another barn, and that stuff, I was like, I'd have to leave. I just could not be underneath that. I was like, you know what? I have paid the price for living in barns and being told that Roundup was okay and this was okay, and we knew, and and I quit it the first time I went through that surgery. I just knew. I knew it's for the production of farming and pesticide and, trying to keep the pest. And nobody wants flies, but I'm sure there's another way to go. But that's not as popular, right? Because it don't last as long and all blah, blah, blah. So, excuse me, cleaning. Cleaning is a big part of it. Like the other day, Luke, believe it or not, he groomed this pasture, and then we got a little rain, and he's going to go back and groom it again and knock down the poop balls, and Carrie put out the flies, little predators, which, we've dealt with the predators off and on for years and years. And I just don't think, I don't know if they really work or not. They may, but when you got cattle, as they do over here, and goats and sheep and all the other things, the cattle are the worst for those biting horn flies. And so you can't, it's a little bit harder when you're dealing with the cows. But, long story short, I just wanted to say hello. Hope all is well. Mr. Horse, we really need to figure out what this horse did to himself. Something happened, or, excuse me. But we're going to keep on saddling and keep putting videos up and keep planning, like, there's something that's going to happen when this all lifts, and we'll be back running and hauling and breeding. And I just want to say a shout out to those. I have a friend, time, this with the time, kind of going back with the time of change, you can either be okay with it and kind of go along, or you can resist it and really struggle. Some change you're forced into, you have no way around it. When I say that, when it comes to death, or when it comes to things that can happen to you out of no force of your own, or maybe partly force of yours, whatever the case may be, you will be forced into change, and something we need to think about. Again, you can relax and go back to the basics and just what's real and right, and as the Bible tells us, what's upright and holy, and those things we want to concentrate on. All the rest, you just need to let it go. And it's hard because I'm a person, nature, a habit. I have dealt with a lot of change, so I've learned to kind of go along. And I think when you're training horses and stuff, they're not going to fit into your hand. You will ride less horses if you try to make everything fit into your mold. But if you fit and learn to mold with them and find a solution in a way that the water runs free, so to speak, then you get things done, and change becomes okay. You, for the lack of a better word, embrace it. I'll be honest with you, I don't like to be told I can't go somewhere. I don't like to be told you can't do something. I don't like to be told, never have. And at my age, I don't think I ever will. Of course, you probably, where we're at, you get a little more politically correct because you got to be careful what you say, right? Because you can't offend anybody. Of course, you can be offended all day, but, God forbid that your lifestyle or things you say or do offends anybody else. As long as we're not offending the horse. Okay, well, with that all said, I hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday. For us, me and my house, we will serve the Lord, and blessings, and a call out to my dear friend Michelle. Her father passed away yesterday, and he's in the glory of God, basking in the righteousness of the fruits of his labors here on earth. And for her, I just my conversations with her the night before he passed, and yesterday, and again today, just condolence to her family, and to know, as believers, we know that they're in another place. I can't imagine. She said, I wish I could just call him and ask him what it was like. And I said to her, well, then it wouldn't be the gift, right? It wouldn't be the gift. Whether you believe or don't believe or think there is or isn't, that's up to you. But again, for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And I look at this horse here, and I'm hard to believe that he's 21 this year. Time does fly.